more from Azure. I mean, I know. I get the mindset. Like, that is probably the idea, right? You give low, Morphling mid, or you can try to farm up on the Venge. Venge carry does still work, but it takes a while to really feel like a threat. I suppose you do have the stat padding that you can play with as a universal type. It's just... At the very least, Undying for Tidehunter is also terrible. So the Tidehunter Winter Wyvern lane's not maybe going to be as scary, considering that Xianming can trade back every single time with the K. So that is something going on here for Azure. Like, huh.
See how it all works out. I mean, obviously, you know, we can only talk so much here. We'll have to see what Azure has to show us. Very, very intrigued myself to see how this all pans out.
30 seconds to battle.
See if they do break out in a level 1 team fight. Seems though Azure not... I mean, you do have an Undying, so you wouldn't mind a level 1 fight, I'd say. But they do split up. Doesn't seem like they're too interested in it. Azure will start trying to pressure the top bounty and see if they can get maybe one of those. Seems like it is going to end up in a 2-for-2 trade anyway, so pretty even kind of start between these two teams. We'll start off with the mid lane though. You are going to have Butterfly Effect, and he is going to be up against the mid Vengevori. So, this is not a lane you get to see very often. I'm looking very forward to seeing what Ori does do here, but what do you think about this?
I honestly really thought they'd just go with low Morphling mid. I suppose the Morphling, I don't know, the first few levels for Morphling is pretty atrocious. His attack range is shorter. This is an okay lane for Venge, actually. And you can always win out right-click trades because of Wave of Terror taking away attack damage, so it's not as safe for Butterfly Effect. He has to walk in melee to use the Static Remnant and to use the Vortex, and Venge just has a relatively safe range to spam out her spells, so this is pretty good. I don't expect Butterfly Effect to snowball hard now, so that is some good bits of news. And I don't think this simplifies at any time for Butterfly Effect. He's probably going to go 2-0-1 now at 3. Vortex is not going to have too much value. Again, gap closing onto Ori is painful. And the mana efficiency of Venge is pretty high. That's why she's a shining support right now. It's just very easy damage and very cheap spells to throw out.
I mean, it's certainly looking pretty good right now. Ori doing plenty of work here in the mid lane. Have a look at the side lanes as well. Of course, bottom lane, you're going to have TK and Irving against Xianming. And Low on the morph. Low having a pretty damn good time so far. I don't think the Tide Wyvern lane can do too much about the morphling this game. It does feel like Low's going to have a pretty free laning stage. In fact, I'd say with the Undying, you probably do have some kill potential here as well if you are Azure.
Yeah, there's a lot of kill potential. It's not a fun lane for Irving. If they get the value point, then Tombstone, clearing it out with TK, it's not the quickest thing in the world. Irving can't really help as well on Tombstone, and it's a ton of space out for Low, just with his one Undying running forward. You've got the Mangoes ready here as well for Xianming. He's going to be able to keep up that spam. We saw Irving struggle last time. It looks to be set up for that same kind of lane for him here. Up top is probably where the best lane of Team Bright is hanging. It is Ulu on that Lina, with Red Panda on the Tusk. And you've got a lot of play. Red Panda can cop most of the damage. That disruption into Aether Remnant is ready on FY and Bach, but neither of these targets are really easy to gap close onto and fully commit, so that's their slow lane. Both of the off lanes are going to be slow. It's just, it's going to feel a lot slower for Irving, but props to him, he has way more CS than Bach. So that is something here for the side of Team Bright.
Yeah, it certainly is. Top lane going pretty well here for Ulu and FY. He's going to get caught in the shards. Ulu not quite in position to try and go for some damage out onto the Shadow Demon. And FY did have the disruption anyway, so probably wouldn't have amounted to too much. Looking back at that mid lane, Ori's still having a pretty damn good time here on the Venge. 15 and 3 at the moment in terms of the CS board. Yeah, I mean, the mid Venge, as much as, you know, I kind of scoffed at it there for a moment, it seems like it's working very effectively. Of course, as we get into the mid to late game, I do wonder what the impact of this Venge is going to be like as a mid hero, but we'll see. As top lane, FY does get caught in the shards of Red Panda. will go down. First blood to go the way of Ulu on the laner. Buck not really able to do too much about it.
Yeah, this top lane is definitely weaker for Azure in comparison to Irving's lane, and that's going to be the shortcoming. You're questioning the Venge mid. I'm kind of looking at Bach. What's he going to do with his Void Spirit without farm? This hero has not been popular in a while. It still has its place in the meta, but without farm buildup, without fast acceleration for levels in the offlane, it's not going to be as smooth sailing here for Bach. So, I'm not sure. He still has play, but again, like, Aether Remnant setup is not ideal anyway to play around. They do manage to steal away the Water Runes at the very least. Butterfly Effect forced to go for the bounty and not even able to pick up his own Water Rune. So, TK just preventing inside of Azure from trying to get something done there, but this mid lane matchup is just rough for Butterfly Effect. At the least when he hits 6, it's not going to be a big threat. I mean, or he can try to swap stun, but you're not going to have that burst window for the Storm unless, like, 2 of your supports rotate in. And the big thing for the side of Bright is, again, if they mitigate their losses down bot, they're going to be in a pretty decent spot. And so far, they've been able to do that. Low is still finding free farm. But again, Irving is still 10 CS ahead of Bach. Like, this Void Spirit's just not doing much. At least they find Red Panda. That's one way to compensate.
Yeah, Red Panda actually ended up getting quite aggressive there on the Tusk, trying to go for the Shards tag team, but just ended up paying for it with his life as Bach just kind of turns around and mans up against him. Definitely not the kind of kill you want to give over to a Void Spirit who was already struggling as it was. I mean, he does have the double braces up, so he's going to be able to take a lot more damage on this Void Spirit. But really cannot slow down the lane. Like, Ulu's just having the freest time of his life. Even without the Tusk, it just doesn't matter. They can't really pressure him at all. Ori, in a bit of danger mid lane. Red Panda with a very nice rotation. Not only looks to fill up the bottle of Butterfly Effect, but does help set up a pretty important kill here for Azure. Or excuse me, rather Team Bright.
Yeah, Bright needed that. Butterfly Effect needed some relief. And it's stemming from what you said up top. Like, there's no way for Bach to work this Lina matchup. It's basically like the mid matchup for the Void Spirit. It's not great. So you can afford to actually leave this Lina alone. Get some action across the map with that Tusk. Fighting over the 6-minute runes. Fly will steal it at the very least.
Oh, Red Panda getting it swapped back. Shards will block the way of Azure, but it may not matter because Red Panda still being chased down, still being given vision here by FY's illusions, but does manage to get his way out. So nice little walk away there from Red Panda. We'll get reset here by TK with the Cold Embrace anyway. The 1-2 so far. Net worth is slightly the way of Team Bright. I think seemingly going pretty well for both teams though. Like, both position ones are having a great old time. Though, as I say that, Ulu is being pinged out. FY does move in for the disruption. Red Panda, though, has shown up to ensure they can't really go after Ulu, but here comes Tianming. Ulu sticking around a bit too long, but still gets the Light Strike Array off on Tianming, and Tianming, I thought he may have had points in Tombstone with the way he was moving, but he went 2-1-0 build up here on the Undying, and it's just a bit of a weird run in. Not really sure what they were expecting.
Yeah, the Aether Remnant never came out from Bach. I think he recognized that it was a wonky fight once the shards were up. So they're not able to follow through. Maybe expecting that full committal out from Bach, but doesn't quite pan out. And you're more than happy to take that on Team Bright. You're freeing up the bot lane. It's a little bit more manageable for Irving. He does have his Morbid Mask, so he's going to be able to lifesteal through. Again, still not stopping low, but having some presence on that tide in comparison to the Void Spirit. Although, once Void Spirit hits 6, a lot of your issues are rectified. You still have really good jump, and you don't have the best control on Bright to handle that kind of mobility on 2 heroes, with a Morphling as a concern as well. Once more on top.
They are going to try into the Lina. Snowball is going to ensure that Ulu takes no damage, and now Tianming blown up again. Bach not out of danger either. Will try to run towards the north, but he's not going to make it. Beautiful shots from Red Panda to lock him down, and oh, Bach, I mean, he's still level 5 here on this offlane Void Spirit. It is certainly not looking very good for them as Team Bright now 1-5 with a 1k advantage their way. The only saving grace is the fact that Low is freely farming right now. So your Morphling's going well, but your offlane is pretty screwed.
Yeah, it's almost like what happened to Irving last game, except way worse for Bach here. Again, his 6 timing is key. Once he has that ability to just jump forward and get some burst damage going, it can simplify, although.
Yeah, they're going to try into FY now. FY, definitely not going to make it. Bach was sticking around thinking maybe he could help out, but certainly not up against 4 heroes. Now, Irving bottom lane is kind of being watched here by Tian Ming, and Ori is going to rotate over onto the Tide. That is a Tide you're trying to kill, though. Swap him back. 1 charge is committed by Irving. Has the Ravage if he needs it. Does commit the Anchor Smash for now. Waveform forward, but low! Oh, he's going to be very careful here. The Ravage does land on 3. Tian Ming, the one in danger, does go down. The Tide will walk his way out. Still, they are going to go into Red Panda, but here comes the zip in from Butterfly Effect. He wants to move in onto the Venge. The Venge will make his way out, though. Instead, it's going to be FY. They'll target down on the Shadow Demon, and FY should drop and will. Butterfly Effect able to take him out. I believe that was, what, a 2-for-1 trade in the favor of Team Bright?
Yep. They're getting some good activity out. Irving getting a really good use of that first Ravage this game in comparison to the last, where I'm pretty sure he used it twice. One time we didn't catch, the second time just amounting to nothing. Already a good tone here for Irving in game number 3. Gonna get the bottle top up as well for Butterfly Effect, and camp for that Ruin. Double damage, or amplify damage.
Oh, mid lane. I'm gonna kill off Butterfly Effect, but Tian Ming will go down to boot. Still a very good trade here for Azure Ray. Ori will be very happy with that kill. And Ori, I mean, he's still sitting in the 3rd in net worth here on the Venge. Like, I don't think his impact has been that high on the mid-Venge, but in terms of farm, he is keeping up quite nicely.
I think the impact has been felt. The swaps have been setting up for some of these counter kills that they've been finding on Azure Ray. I'm interested in the Mage Slayer build as well. It doesn't feel as effective as like the, say, an Ember or anyone else that can get right clicks off really easily, but this is still a high impact item, and it's probably the most problematic item in the game right now, comparable to the, what was it, Heart Blade Mail in the last patch. It's just an ubiquitous item that is a nuisance. Still focusing on mid, Team Bright and Azure.
Ori will be alright, Red Panda. Well, Disruption is going to be there to hold the Tusk down for a little bit, but they will not commit. There's too many bodies TPing into the mid-tier 1 tower. Is going to ensure that Red Panda does remain safe. Still a counter smoke coming out. Azure Ray now using a smoke as 3. Into the 2-man smoke of Red Panda and TK. You do have Winter's Curse available as Red Panda will break the smoke of Azure Ray. They are still heading up north where Ulu is currently fighting Bach. Bach needs some help though. Curse is going to lock them down, however. They've got Tian Ming locked down, and Tian Ming is immediately down as Bach still trying to fight with Ulu, but now needs to get the hell away as Ulu just happily turns around. Bach barely survived. Low will show up now on the Morphling. But Low's been left behind. Low will try for a TP out, and it looks like he's going to make it. They did not have a stun to cancel.
Not quite, but that smoke pays off dividends there for Team Bright. Finding that Venge who's way up there in net worth, still getting activity out for Butterfly Effect, and giving space out to Irving. He's freely just pushing in bot with Siege Creep. Low is still farming, does manage to head back bot, but you are getting some good progression on Team Bright. They're the ones pushing into the towers. They're the ones finding these angles, and their team fight, just with a curse, is shaping up nicely. Ori?
Lane. It's caught by the Vortex, and it's still a Venge at the end of the day. He's not too tanky. We'll just go down very quickly as Tian Ming, the only thing he could do is just TP in and drop a Tombstone. Even getting tipped by Red Panda on the way out.
Just a bit slow on the uptake. And Team Bright more than happy to punish the slower response times right now from Azure Ray. 3k lead up for the side of Team Bright. They've got some beautiful stacks being made here as well by TK. Does manage to get the quad or triple stack going here. So a lot of recovery farm for Irving lined up. Gonna lead to a very good blink timing for that Tide. Top lane for Bach has still been rough. I mean, he can dodge out all this movement now, but his impact on Void Spirit still not being felt. Going for his own Mage Slayer. The multiple Mage Slayers will be an issue for Team Bright. The magic resistance plus the debuff on Alina and on a Storm is going to be devastating. So there is this timing lining up for Azure with two mage slayers that they are farming up, but they just need to kind of sit back and farm. Low is starting to become a little bit of an issue, but how well the Morphling's been allowed to build up. Again, we're not seeing any build into, say, a Spirit Vessel here. Any way of reducing that shift heal. So he's always going to be tanky in front, but you might not even care if you just keep killing everyone else for quite a while here.
Mid lane. Oh, looks like they won't make the jump in. Red Panda, he'll be alright to back his way out. The 4K advantage still standing for Team Bright. Ulu very close to the Gleipnir pickup now on the lane up. I mean, sure, you've got Low still farming pretty well on the Morphling, but he's the only one on Azure Ray that's at this stage where he's actually getting some net worth on the board. It still feels like to me that this Venge pickup in the mid lane has not paid off, nor has the off lane Void. Just neither one really showing as much as you would have liked so far. Red Panda thinking about going on to Bark top lane, but at this point they can't really lock him down. He'll be okay.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Jump in on Red Panda. Bark is going to try and get a bit of damage off onto the Tusk, but now the Rod of Atos from Ulu just going to set up onto the Shadow Demon, and FY will just get absolutely deleted.
Just gone. So much burst damage on the side of Team Bright with this Lina. There's still smoke around here on Azure Rado. They could try for an aggressive swap.
Give it a crack, Red Panda. But they're still trying for this task. He does have Snowball back up now. He might be able to get it off in time, but no, it doesn't even bother. We'll just die. The bottom lane, Low. Oh, that's a much bigger kill. That's the Orchid of Butterfly effect being used immediately after being picked up. Finding the primary target in the Morphling.
Yeah, that is worrying for Azure Ray. It's a Morphling that really had the freest lane here. And finding that pickoff for the side of Team Bright and finding that tier 1 on top of it, getting this room to siege with Irving down mid, opens up a lot of possibilities for Bright to start crossing this river more often. Not going to fully commit onto that objective. We respect the presence here of Chan Ming. They do find a haste rune up though for Butterfly effect.
Onto the void they go.
Ah, Bach.
Yeah, Bach just not going to be able to escape the Orchid of Butterfly effect, and it's just such a strong timing now for the Storm. It seems like there's just pretty much everybody is going to suffer to that Orchid pickup of the Storm Spirit. And nobody's safe, really. I mean, at least Low is going to have a Manta style up in 1k worth of gold, I guess. It's going to take a bit of time. Red Panda be able to back off, just annoying Low at the moment. The Team Bright, they are certainly smelling blood in the water. They want to keep going for more aggressive moves. It does not feel like they need to slow down anytime soon. Ulu pushing out the top wave, maybe thinking about pressuring the top tier 2 tower, but Azure Ray going to start pressuring them away. Red Panda will get swapped in on the Tusk. Red Panda, he is gone. So pos 5 kill is going to be there for Azure Ray, but that's about all they're going to get.
It's a lot of map space gained by the side of Team Bright, finding the mid and top tier 1. There's still some good wards watching the river from the side of Azure Ray, so they'll know when the side of Bright are trying to take advantage of that map control. But Team Bright's wards are also pretty good, just watching that northern area in the triangle and the ramp. And they're going to gun for the Roshan. They've got decent damage coming in here with Ulu. And, just having Gosh, having the Anchor Smash simplifies this prospect onto Roche. The team fight for Azure into that area is not great. They get the scan, but really, what do you realistically want to do there? You don't really have much to throw into the pit.
Yeah, I mean, they'll get the information, but that's about all they can get. They will be able to do nothing with it. Mid lane, Gleipnir, it does land on 2 in the mid lane. Ulu, of course, going to go after the Venge. Ori can do nothing on this hero. He just gets deleted. Onto the Tombstone they go. The Tombstone is down. FY, he will be the second to fall. Tianming trying to juke out the best he can. Does narrowly avoid them for now. But this game just continues to get worse. I mean, just It just feels like they haven't got heroes in the mid and off lane. It really just doesn't. It doesn't feel like anything
Yeah.
right now.
No. I honestly think this stems from just the offlane slowness for Bach, right?
You
Like,
think so?
the Venge. Yeah, I mean, again, the Venge is getting some decent swaps. It had good laning presence up against the Ember. You can't even say Bach had good laning presence up against Lina. Right, so that's a bigger pertinent issue here for the side of Azure Ray. Like, yes, you do have your Mage Slayer up. You can try to jump in with the Astral Step. But where's the follow-through for that initiation on this Void Spirit? Like, who jumps in with him? Is it going to be Low? He's not comfy to do that just yet. And Low...
Yeah, speaking of the devil, Low, he does not get the strength morph off either, so he is just dead. Butterfly effect looking at Tian Ming. Tian Ming getting a vortexed up, completely silenced, is also set to fall. You start to wonder whether Azure Ray are thinking about making an early call here, because I mean, well, Bach is going to make the jump in on the Lina. Ulu may end up going down. Bach trying to set up perfectly, though he's still not down yet. Swap in from Ori. Ulu's going to be just fine to survive through the cold embraces. Ori is still desperately trying to take him down, but the disruption going to buy a bit more time for Ulu. They'll finally get the Lina down, but Ori will fall. As Bach desperately still trying to find a little bit more, does find TK, but they will lose FY in the process, and Bach, oh, he's been silenced up. He's looking as good as dead, and TK will survive. So you get Ulu on the Lina, but that's all you're getting out of this. It costs you 3 heroes.
Yeah, it costs way too much. It's a nice pickup. It's worth a lot of gold, but bleeding that many heroes away is still a massive win for the side of Bright. And the synchronization from Bright just looking a lot better right now in comparison to Azure Ray. And for Azure Ray, all their hopes are hanging on Low now. This Morphling has to be that hyper carry, has to carry that dream of a game, of a journey on the upper bracket for Azure Ray, replicating their success from Dream League qualifiers, but it's just not showing up. 9k lead for Team Bright, still 2 minutes on the Aegis for Butterfly Effect, has the Witchblade up now, going for the Sanj for a little bit of stat resist. Did he buy out his Kaya? He was queuing up a Kaya earlier, so
Oh, FY.
yeah, has the Kaya into the Sanj. Oh.
Caught out on the Shadow Demon will go down. Well, tier 2 bottom tower now also set to fall. There is not too much they can do about it. It'll be gone.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Yeah, I mean, they are holding on here, Azure Ray. They have not called it yet. That they're still trying to keep their hopes alive here in the upper bracket. It certainly is not game over yet, but it really is all about Low. It's just that the farm's not even close to being there yet for the Morphling. So much time needs to be bought here.
Stupendous.
It's a little bit scary. I mean, he will have the BKB on top of the Manta at the very least, so the Orchid play is not going to be enough from Butterfly Effect. That does mean there's going to be a reliance on perhaps just the Blink Winter's Curse being the big setup here from TK into Chain Stunning with, say, Ravage or just Snowball and a Punch. That's still a big enough burst window to play with if you can nail the Orchid in time as well and get that a little bit extra on top. But it's not a simple game for Low. Like, he has to go 2 defensive items. Normally, we see Morphling stick to just 1 into, like, the offensive build-up, like Manta into Akanda, into Butterfly. And that timing's just not going to be there. I don't know. It's a lot of stalling that Azure will need to do. They will find their Tormentor, get the Shard up on Tian Ming, and this is where things can be a little bit more interesting. You've got the Tombstone save on Tian Ming, so you can still try to stall out these fights. Whether or not that's enough is a different question, though.
Mid lane, the tier 2 tower will go down very, very easily. Team Bright. They'll let the Aegis expire. They'll all retreat. So you're not looking to throw this game at Ori. Being spotted here by Butterfly Effect. Again, silenced up is down. Ori, he was about 300 gold away from having the Manta style up to try and avoid that situation happening, but still going to be a little bit of time till he has that up, sadly, now. And I mean, maybe once you have the purge for the silence, you can kind of play the game. Till then, you are basically just screwed as TK. Will avoid the gank from Buck. Does have Irving behind him now. So Ray not even going to get away with the Winter Wyvern kill here.
Bach is still level 12.
Yeah.
In comparison, you're level 13 on TK. You are level 12 in Red Panda, but your off-lane Void Spirit is the same level as the enemy support. It's never a good sign for the side of Azure. And I don't know, it's just this lineup needs so much to recover. Team Bright's team fight is just way too strong. The threat of the curse, even just being used as a single target piece of control, true to BKBs, is going to be massive. Rune control has been fully on Team Bright. They've got the Vision game lined up here as well. You do have at least one forward ward here for the side of Azure watching top, so they can at least get an idea and try to play off of that. But I don't know, they're not even playing in that area right now for Team Bright. They're just pushing elsewhere. We'll try Bach.
Oh boy. Yeah, Vortex will catch him. A butterfly effect showing absolutely zero remorse here for the TI winner. Take him down. 16-1-2 is the scoreline now for butterfly effect. It's been absolutely fantastic throughout this series. TK also caught out here on the Wyvern. Will go down at the very least, so they do find themselves a support pickup here on Azure Ray. The cost just feels so heavy every single time. Maybe they could think about Ulu down at the bottom, but I don't think so. And Azure Ray don't think so either. They're just going to retreat. I think the only play you have right now as AR is maybe just wait to try and fight against the next Roshan play from Team Bright. It's probably about it.
I don't know if Roshan is the best spot for them to be in, frankly. It feels a little bit risky clumping up into Ravage and Winter's Curse. I'd say pick off is their best idea. If you can try to group up, scout forward, use this one forward ward you have to get a swap into chain stuns, that's probably your best bet. I just don't think you're winning Roche here at all. Not into Tide, not into Winter Wyvern, and with how much damage and mobility is on Team Bright. Get the shard up on TK as well, so there's a little bit more damage flying out in the middle of these mid-engagement heals. Full Parasma being picked up by Butterfly Effect, and he is farmed to heck. Top 1 in net worth. This just allows him to melt these heroes so much faster without Orchid. Especially Bach, like he still has no Manta and still a ways off from that timing. Yeah, solo pickoffs are just lining up now for Butterfly Effect. Roche still a minute 40 away. I mean, you could try. I can see the angle for Azure maybe again relying on swap isolation, sacrificing Ori, but it's not clean. It's not going to be pretty for Azure if they do contest in the pit itself.
Oh, don't get me wrong, Donna. I'm not saying they're going to win the Roshan fight. I'm saying they have no choice. I think you actually have to go for it. So, I mean, we'll see what happens at AR. I mean, they could just try and play the drag-out game. Maybe that'll work. We'll see. I mean, Low is currently holding on to like 4.7k worth of gold, so we'll see what he's going to buy out. Seems like he does want the BKB first. Maybe just hoping to have buyback gold as well as the full BKB at once.
Bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower
The top tier 2 tower going to drop in the meantime. Team Bright will take themselves an objective while they are waiting for that next Roshan.
Radiant's top tower is falling.
I mean, they just can't defend Azure. Have to surrender these objectives.
Dire's bottom
I
tower
suppose for the high ground hold, best case scenario is still into swap, offensive swaps. And Ori is going into the Ags. With the Ags, the swaps are a little bit less high committal. You'll have that secondary illusion to still do some work in the middle of these team fights, if they can find that farm. These forward wards from Azure is starting to pay off just a little bit. They have some vision on the triangle, so they can kind of try to shove forward, try to play a little bit further out from their high ground and get that farm game going. Manta for Bach is coming online now in 50 gold, so not going to be a very easy target to pin down after.
Well, there goes Tian Ming. Butterfly effect can just literally kill anyone that shows on the map right now. So finding a nice easy undying kill for himself. Oh, they are very close to the Morphling at the moment. And so the TP's down towards the bottom lane where FY was scouted. Maybe did hold him down there for a second, and FY trying his best to delay this death, but oh, actually gets away for now. FY will TP out, and it seems like he is going to make it. It's a nice little bit of space creation here from the Shadow Demon. Roshan available though. Team Bright probably about time to head in.
Yeah, they've got the damage output. Again, for Azure, fighting into the pit is rough. I think they understand, even though this is probably game over with Aegis, it's also game over if they just jump in. Like, it's just not something they can deal with. Second, Roche goes away with Team Bright, but no contest. Aegis going to be up and running. Probably onto Butterfly Effect once more. Does free up the space for it. No, Ulu grabs it. He gets the cheese instead, which is still good. High ground plays from Azure has to be on point. On the mark. Only 800 gold away from Ori's Ags for those offensive swaps to be a lot safer. Even then, I don't know. I'm trying to sell myself on this concept. It's still rough. Low does have BKB. Is going for the Silver Edge next. So, wants a way of just perhaps softening up someone like Irving. Preventing that Kraken from going off.
Oh, here we go again. FY. We'll just get the lead. The Butterfly Effect just zipping from halfway through the map. Has an arcane root, of course, on the storm, so makes it that much easier to make that happen. Oh, it's alright. They are still holding on. They're still trying to buy themselves more and more time to get to a stage where low is a problem. Team Bright, they certainly have the opportunity now to think about high ground with this Aegis and Cheese up. Still just taking time to split push out all the lanes and control the map as much as humanly possible. They'll have to address the top lane as well, because Azure have forced that out. They could choose to ignore it as well and just go through the bottom. We'll see. TPs are incoming from Ulu, so it seems like that is going to be the call. Just go straight through the bottom racks instead of bothering to defend. They still have a T2 top tower anyway, so it doesn't really feel like they need to go up, because nobody's committed to that top lane push. Jump in, FY. Gets swapped out here from Ori, but Ori now going to find himself in danger, and Ori is just gone. He has the Ags up, but the Remnant looking to fall pretty darn quickly as well, and it does. So you save FY, but that's your mid-venge going down.
I'm not sold on the defensive swaps here. You've got to sacrifice someone. Just go for the swap on Ori alone for the offense and try to isolate one. But with Avenge down, it's not going to take too long to start to melt these towers on the high ground. And they'll find it. Hex up on Butterfly Effect as well, flying in now.
Disruption. Gonna buy a bit of time for Buck to get out, but he gets hit by a Light Strike Array. Buck gets into the Tombstone as well. Maybe that's gonna be enough, but no! Just everything being thrown at Buck. He went for the Manta style over the Dissimulate play as well. It kind of cost him there for a second.
I don't think he could have Dissimulated. He was just held in place by Dead in the Water the entire time. Even through the Disruption and the Tomb, it actually doesn't take the anchor away. He was just leashed up.
Ulu does BKB up, and they are going to find Low immediately. Low just getting destroyed. They found Ori again. Ori is down another time. Buck, he's going to jump in, see what's going on in the mid lane, but he's been silenced up immediately. Does get the Manta, but is Vortex back in, and GG is called. Azure Ray will get knocked down to the lower bracket, and Team Bright of all teams will make it through to the upper bracket round of 2.
Yeah, not anything anyone would have expected, considering again the previous runs that Azure has taken in a lot.